Hello students, today we would be doing Java Basics Part 1. Let us just see what is an object-oriented programming. Java is an object-oriented programming language. Now C, C++ and many other languages were considered as procedural or non-procedural. C++ is also having object-oriented concepts. What is an object-oriented programming language? In this kind of programming language, emphasis is given more on data, whereas in case of procedural-oriented programming and non-procedural, more emphasis is done on methods. Now, in Java, every code is considered as a class. A class will have its own properties and its own behaviors. Now, suppose I am creating a class called dog. It will have some properties like breed, size, age and color, and it will have some behavior like eating, sleeping, sit, run. In short, I have created a class or a blueprint which states that what are the properties of dog and what are the functionalities or behaviors of dog. Same way, every class that you create in Java will have variables and methods or functions. It is when you create an object of this class, that is using the blueprint of dog. When I actually create a dog, I'll give it a breed, a size, a age and a color. In short, dog is a blueprint, just tells me that these are the characteristics and these are the functionalities that a dog will have. And when I actually create an object of dog, I give actual values. Hence, object will occupy space in memory, whereas class will not. Class is just a blueprint. It is just an explanation of what will the properties and the behavior of the objects be. Object will have its own set of properties, that is the value for each properties. Hence, a class is said to be a blueprint, whereas an object is said to be a variable of the class. Object is an identifiable entity of class. Apart from class and object, the other four basic concepts of object-oriented programming technique are abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance and polymorphism. What is abstraction? Abstraction means only showing the needed or essential features and hiding the background detail. Like data is hidden or stored within the class and is not allowed to be manipulated, whereas how to use the data, how to see the value of the data is only allowed. This is known as an abstraction. Encapsulation, keeping together or binding together or wrapping together of data and method is said to be an encapsulation. Data and members, data means variables, and the methods, they are clubbed together or they are wrapped together and placed inside a class. A Java code will begin with a class keyword, will have the variables and method inside the curly brackets of class. This is how the encapsulation takes care that they stay together and are treated as a single unit. Inheritance. Suppose if I have a class already and it has certain characteristics and behavior which I want the other class to have and some added features to it, then I can just extend the upper class or the original class and create a new class which will inherit all the properties and methods from the parent class. Polymorphism. Polymorphism means one name and various forms. If I have a method, then I can make a method with same name and different parameter list. In short, what I am doing is I am using same method and trying to, or same name and trying to make different forms of it. Poly means many and morphs means forms. Java tokens. Every single smallest unit of a Java program is said to be a token. There are basically 5 types of tokens in Java. Each and every unit of Java belongs to any one of this type. It is either a keyword, a identifier, a literal, a separator or an operator. Let us see each of them. Keyword. They are special reserved word which convey a special meaning to the compiler of your Java compiler. They stand for something and they mean something. They are the reserved words. identifier. The name that which we give to variables, functions, classes, etc. are said to be identifier. There are certain rules pertaining to identifiers. A identifier can contain only alphabets, big or small, digits, underscore and dollar sign. But it can never start with a digit. It is case sensitive, so each of them will be different. An identifier cannot be a keyword true, false or null. True, false and null are not keywords but are reserved words. An identifier can be of any length. You can see that an identifier cannot have a space between it. Total and marks cannot be a one identifier. It cannot be having a space between it. Literals. There are 6 types of literals. Literals are certain constant values which are given to a variable, or say certain constant values which we use in a program. Some of the constant values are integer, float, character, string, boolean and null. These are all the literals that Java provide. Let us discuss integer literal first. Integer literal is any number, positive or negative, without a decimal point. There are 3 types of integer literals: decimal, octal, hexadecimal. Decimal are the one which we use normally. 0 to 9 are the numbers that can be included in it. Octal are the numbers which have only 0 to 7 digits in it, and they are written as O0 or say 0O12, 0O77. O stands for octal. A hexadecimal number is having numbers 0 to 9. It is represented as 0x or 0 capital X, and it has 0 to 9 numbers and A to F digits. Floating point literals. Floating point literals are those constant values which have decimal point with it. There are 2 types of decimal point values or floating values. One is fractional form. The fractional form is the one with positive or real number, which is considered to be with a division sign, which you get when you divide a number with other number, or one with a decimal point. Exponential is of the form in which e is written 0.58 e, which is an exponential number. It has 2 parts, mantissa and exponent. Character literals. A single character which is enclosed in a single quote is said to be a character literal. These are all character literals A, B, C, D, and they are written or they are enclosed in a single quote. We have escape sequences also. We have learned escape sequences in 9th standard. Escape sequences are actually keyboard values which are represented in a program. String literals. String literals are written in double quotes. Computer, application, this is an empty string literal. All these are string literal. Anything which is written inside a pair of double quotes is a string literal. Boolean literal has only 2 values, true or false. And null means absence of a value. It is a literal. It is usually a value which is default value to string, character, etc. Separators. Separators are tokens which are used to separate various tokens. They are special tokens which are used to separate the other tokens. These are the separators. Operators. Now, operators are divided into 2 categories based on number of operands and based on functionality. Based on number of operands, it can be divided into 2 sections, or say basically 3 sections. One is unary, binary and ternary. Unary operators require only one operand, say plus, minus, increment operator plus plus, decrement operator minus minus, logical not operator and bitwise operator. They require only one operand. The operator which requires two operand are called binary operators. This all are binary operators. They require two operands. Ternary operator is only one. This is the ternary operator and it requires three values. One is the value you want to assign, condition if true, value given if true, value given if it is false. Data types. What are data types in Python? Data types in real life are of different type. You can have age as number, you can have currency as salary, you can have name as string. Since the real life data is of different type, hence every programming language support data types which can store different type of data, or they indicate the nature of data. There are basically two categories of data type: primitive data type and reference data type. Byte, short, integer, long, float, double, character and boolean are said to be the primitive data type, and classes, interfaces and arrays are said to be the reference data types. String in Java is also said to be a reference data type. When we are using a byte, it occupies 8 bits and a value which can be stored in it can be only from -128 to positive 127. Short is 16 bits, it requires 16 bits. Integer requires 32 bits, long requires 64 bits, float requires 32 bits, double 64, character 16 bits, and boolean requires only 1 bit, which is true or false requires only 1 bit. When I am creating a variable which is long, if I create a variable with long, I have to write L. If I create a variable which is float, I will have to write F. F big or small can do, L big or small can do. Operators. Operators are of different type. You can see these are the operators: arithmetic operator, relational operators, logical operators, assignment operators, ternary operator, bitwise operators. Apart from that, you have increment and decrement operators also. This is all for today, kids. We'll be listening one more video about part 2 in next class. Thank you.